vodka, tequila, rum. Everyone has their favourite drink, don't they? But whenever it came to cars, well, my poison of choice was always the Mercedes C63. It just ticked a lot of boxes for me. It's sort of muscular, distilled aggression that the car had, that beautiful, naturally aspirated V8 engine. It was sort of like somebody slightly unhinged, but wearing a suit because it's a Mercedes-Benz. Yes, that was my scotch on the rocks, that car. And this, well, this is the new Mercedes C63 Coupe. More specifically the S model, and what Mercedes have done is change the cocktail a bit.
Firstly, we have to say a huge thanks to Sandow Mercedes, who are our local AMG specialist and who have got us into this new coupe so soon.
Gone is that naturally aspirated sort of muscle car V8, and in its place quite a technologically advanced 4-litre V8 with twin turbos. Said V8 produces 503 brake horsepower and a whopping 700 newton meters of torque. That is probably enough to get the earth spinning in the opposite direction. That's fed to the rear wheels via actually a rather good, quite responsive 7-speed automatic transmission. Put those ingredients in the blender and it sounds like this. 0 to 62 miles per hour is vanquished in 3.9 seconds with the aid of launch control, and it'll go on to an electronically limited top speed of 155 miles per hour. It's no slouch, this car. Visually, the car has certainly done a bit of growing up, but it still retains those recognisable proportions with the long bonnet, the short overhangs and the curvaceous rear end. The sloping roofline of this coupe model certainly gives it a handsome look overall. The silhouette is strong, it's bold, it has these bulging wheel arches, it also has those muscular lines down the bonnet. It certainly means business, and in this blue, I think this specification of this specific car is spot on. It looks brilliant. The interior is exactly what you expect of a Mercedes-Benz, very high quality, very well made, and a really beautiful design overall with lots of brushed aluminium and cascading surfaces. We've got this large display here, the infotainment display, and that's controlled by this scroll wheel and touchpad down here. And you also have a half leather, half Alcantara steering wheel, which is really nice to hold in your hands. It's chunky, it feels like it's a purposeful bit of kit. And then we get to the stars of this interior, these two really sporty seats. They hug your ribs really tight, you've got lots of side bolstering, and they hold you in place really, really nicely. But better than that, they're also supportive, they're quite comfortable. A lot of cars do the sort of sporty element of the seat really well, but after an hour you get quite uncomfortable. These, I haven't had numb bum once all day. Now the rear seats, they're sort of for occasional adult use. They'd be fine for children, but obviously with that sloping roofline you're cutting down on headroom. This car also has a glass panoramic roof which lets in plenty of natural light, but can also open to let some of the sunshine in. And whilst the boot does have a narrow opening, 435 litres isn't bad at all. Now this is one of those cars that I'd describe as having multiple personality disorder, because you see, whilst we're wafting along here in comfort, everything's quite nice. We've got the softer of the suspension settings, whilst still a little bit firm. Obviously you're in a performance AMG. It's certainly not bone shattering. It's relatively quiet, a little bit of road noise because of those big tyres, but other than that, it's quite tranquil, and you could be mistaken for thinking that this is a normal C-Class. But you see, if you go down here into the car's dynamic settings and you give that a toggle, you move from comfort to sport, which sort of wakes the car up a bit. We've got the firmer suspension settings, the steering gets a bit heavier and the throttle gets a bit more lively. We go down again and we have Sport Plus, and all of a sudden that active exhaust is engaged. We've got the valves open, there's a bit of a rumble as the car goes past. More weighting, more throttle response. But when we go down to race, well, the car's on maximum attack, and
goodbye Dr. Jekyll and hello Mr. Hyde.
Now the old C63 was a bit of a muscle car really in its execution. It was point and shoot, it was all or nothing, it was a real sledgehammer. Now this car is much more scientific with its execution.
It feels sharper, more focused, more capable. Beautifully weighted steering with fast responses to inputs enables you to place the car perfectly on an apex. As those wide tyres bite the tarmac and the weight is transferred around the car, you can really appreciate the masterful body control this AMG has. Hardly a hint of body roll through the bends, especially with the suspension firmed up, goes to show that this is a serious performance car with an overall excellent chassis setup. Step on the noisy pedal and you are launched towards the horizon in a symphony of V8 glory. Despite being turbocharged, this engine is beastly when it comes to the soundtrack. Don't go thinking that because the C63 has learnt some manners now that it no longer knows how to have a good tie. Prod the throttle at the penultimate moment and the back end is still very eager to come out to play. Its large brakes are powerful and more than capable of bringing proceedings under control.
It still pops and bangs and gurgles and sounds like it's gargling knives, but you know, that is the AMG character. Whilst M cars, yes, will set you a faster lap time round a track, the M4 I have no doubt will be a bit faster than this round a racetrack. The M4 doesn't make you smile as much as this car does. The M4 doesn't engage you as a human being as much as this car does. I mean, all you got to do is put your foot down and it just...
The new AMG C63 is an oxymoron, a self-perpetuating collision of brawn and brain, sophistication and lunacy, beauty and the beast. Thanks very much for watching, and let us know what you think in the comments below. Please subscribe for more on the latest and greatest cars to hit the road. For all of the latest automotive news, written reviews and coverage from motor shows, go to www.insidelane.co.uk.